Nice to connect, Jay.
Yeah, let's connect.
Welcome to the 15-minute uh hot seat where you get to ask your questions. I actually already saw your form that you filled, so thanks for filling that out. One of the questions I always like to ask before we start is how did you hear of me, or where did we come across each other? How did we
Yeah, I've
connect?
been for about over a year. I've been following Jesse. Jesse Vasquez, and I had came across one of the videos when y'all was on y'all each other platform when I think it was like a round table.
Yep.
So I watched that episode. I'm a fan. My business partner is an artist. I love the rocket, the spaceship artwork too. I know that was in the episode, but now I follow Jesse. And I've been doing the midterm rental for about a year. And when y'all had the discussion, it was pretty cool. Followed you on Instagram, and then that's how we got here. I saw you had a post about the hot seat thing.
Awesome. Awesome. Good stuff, man. Well, the seat is yours and Vaniel. I see there's three questions here. I don't know if you still want to go with these that I see here. I see which type required list of companies recommended and can I get a landlord rental insurance? Do you want to go with those or do you have some that have come to
I'll just
mind
go
as
right
well?
off the top. I'll go off the
Go
top.
ahead.
The main thing is because this is my first time doing a rental arbitrage. Like I have
Hmm.
my own unit. The main thing for the insurance thing that I wanted to ask is, do you suggest going with just like landlord insurance, which I know is lower, or just getting a full policy, which we got a couple quotes
Hmm.
for, you know, and then even the broker that I'm using, he was like, he keep thinking about Airbnb, and he was like, that has Airbnb coverage. So I just trying to make sure, what do you
Hmm.
suggest is the best policy for rentals insurance for midterm rental,
Yeah.
for rental arbitrage midterm rental?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so I would do, and remember, it's all about how you choose to do your business, right? So there's no right or wrong. It's just how you choose to do your business. What we have found is the best insurance when it comes to that. We do co-host, we do owned as well. Is gonna be, well, one, you want the owner to have a short-term rental friendly insurance, which means if something happens, you want to make sure that there's riders that you can have. We use travelers, we use farmers, we use proper insurance. Proper is by hands down, it's the you pay the highest premium, but it will cover even if something happens, right? Things get stolen, etc. Loss of the biggest thing too is the loss of income. That's we
Right.
just had one, a property here in Atlanta, fortunately got vandalized, things got taken. They compensated us our midterm rental insurance average. We were averaging of 8K a month on that property, and they prorated about 11 days worth of 8K a month. You prorate that. So I like that because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, keep in mind though, if you're thinking strictly for the insurance strategy, keep in mind that when you have an insurance contract, the corporation I put in my contracts is liable for any damages as well as the tenant. So I say either or will parties will pay. They're financially responsible. I have a security. I have a security deposit in there, and I also have, if it exceeds that amount, that you'd be held liable. I've never had to use that, but that's also a kind of
Right. Like a
backup
buffer. Right.
buffer just in case. Yeah.
And also when I'm renting it out, especially the arbitrage, not only do I have my insurance in place, but I'm requiring renter's insurance, right? So I know renter's insurance is for if something damaged to their stuff, but also the like if there something was to happen, I could put a claim in. The tenant could put a claim in with their own renter's insurance, correct? And
Right,
then
right. And again, I'm not an insurance agent, but I would definitely run all those scenarios with an insurance just to know. For me, what I worry about when I'm in commercial hospitality is liability, right? So the specific question I ask, if someone falls in this property, right? Does this cover a tenant, a guest, an Airbnb, whoever that is not me, not a family member, someone that I'm hosting? Are they covered? And or if they come after me, now there's a lot of different things. I'm not gonna play like the attorney. There's now if you talk about that, there's attorney talks, but then there's also insurance. Like if someone is coming in and they're not the homeowner and they're not the person staying there, is their coverage? That's gonna be the question that I want to know, right? From strictly from the mid-term rental perspective, because we work with these corporations, I actually even put a clause in there on the contract, whether it's going to be hold stand in court at all. I put in the contract that landlord, if you're arbitraging, and or the LLC that's managing the property is not held will not be held liable for any accidents or damages, right? Or accidents to the person that's staying in there. I'm putting it out there, right? And I put that in my contracts exactly. So there's a lot of different ways. I would definitely have a conversation the exact same way if you're gonna do Airbnb. I would have the exact same conversation because anyway, we like to have a hybrid model. So if we're going to do a hybrid model, by hybrid model, I mean like when we don't have an MTR stay, we do STR. So I want to make sure that I don't have to like switch policies, right? Be in the interim. I want to make sure I'm covered for all of the above and be very transparent. And if somebody can't do it, then they can't do business with me, right?
Okay. Yeah, the policy that it did have the rent loss included, but I wasn't sure rent loss when they say that. Can you also, if I have a tenant that's there for 6 months and then I'm having trouble in the winter months, does rent loss cover that, or is it only when it's like theft,
Yeah.
fire, flood?
I don't know an insurance company, and if you do, give me a call. If you have an insurance company that's gonna cover your slow down, it's usually if there's something happens, right? Like if hey, like a pipe burst, we got to get these guys in here to fix it.
Gotcha.
I typically I'm supposed to have somebody be able to stay, and then they'll look at your history and they'll give you the average and they'll pay you out of what you're losing because you can no longer operate. So that's the kind of loss that I know. It's not like, hey man, things are a little bit slow. You want to throw me a bone, right? Be nice though.
Gotcha.
And by the way, if you find that, hey, like Jay, let me know, brother, because I'd love to have as many different exit strategies as possible.
Okay, cool. Nah, that's good. Vonnie, do you want to type? Because I think I asked you two questions. Vonnie, did you have a question that you wanted to ask for the third question?
No. So hi.
Everybody.
I do short. I'm in Philly like Jay, but I do short term rental virtually in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and moving into MTR.
Good for you.
So I kind of know like a little bit of the stuff, but this was really good. Just on proper insurance like that, I was not aware of. But personally, I held my own liability insurance through. Well, I hold it through my business, and then obviously, you
Yeah.
want the owners to be covered too.
Yeah, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with just going directly to the source. That's what I do. I call the insurance agent and be like, hey, say per se, for me, it's even easier because I'm a realtor. I'd be like, hey, I have a client, right, that I'm asking for, or hey, I have a friend, or hey, I'm just wondering, just be upfront. Hey, I'm asking, what would happen if in this case, do I have coverage? And if I don't, what would, because remember, sometimes when you ask that question, I always say you get the quality of answers based on the quality of questions that you ask. Sometimes you ask and you're not directly asking, but saying like, what would need to happen in order for me to have that? And then until you ask that, then they're like, oh, well, then you have to add a rider. Oh, okay. Well, how come you never mentioned it? Because remember, like, they're not thinking about what you're doing. Unless you bring it up to them and be like, hey, if I have someone staying for over a month or 3 months, like ask those questions. What happens? Is this like time sensitive, this insurance, or does it extend out for, is it less than 12 months, more than six? Like, does this apply for 2 years? Like, I don't know. I just want to know. Right. So I like to be as curious as possible. And if someone doesn't have answers to those questions, find someone who does, because at the end of the day, you also want to get that in writing. Be like, hey, can you send that to me somewhere in my policy? Because I don't want to have to go, you told me I was covered, and then all of a sudden I go back and be like, no, that's not a thing. I don't know who you spoke to. Always get everything in writing. Show me exactly what paragraph it shows me. Can you send that to me over email? That's what I do every time. I need paper trail. I need receipts, right?
Mm. Do you and being that you're a realtor,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a part of the discussion for the insurance claims, like ALE solutions, and
Mm-hmm.
when you get, obviously it's probably a little bit, to your event. Like if you get an insurance person looking for something that fits the criteria they need, this is something that I struggle with, and this might not be directly on insurance, but if somebody says, hey, I'm looking for a property that's for a 3 bedroom family, and I almost got one last year. I know that I remember Jesse said, I remember he said it's always negotiable. I remember his story. He said he threw out 8,100. How do you navigate that when they're looking on your listing? Like if you have a listing on Furnished Finder, and then they
Mm-hmm.
reach out to you and say, hey, I see you have this for rent for 3,000. Do you just say, hey, well, do you just change your price over?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is easier. Do you guys have you rent do you have an Airbnb listing?
Yes.
An Airbnb business? Okay, perfect. Are your prices static or are they dynamic?
Oh, well, I'll do midterm, so mine is pretty much straightforward. I don't have the
Okay,
dynamic here. Yep.
cool. So hey, listen, we're a midterm and a short-term rental business, which means that the prices that you see change based on the time of the year. And I just had this conversation with a rep because I told them, they're like, what? That's crazy. Yeah, if you're booking between now and Christmas and New Year's, it's going to be one price. If you book later. Now, as you know, Jay, Vani, the prices that you see on Furnished Finder, there's no way to do it dynamic. But when you're speaking to me now, I'm letting you know that at this time of the year, it's at this price. However, I will let you know that should this price work, we'll lock you in and make sure that that price is locked in forever, how long the term is. That's one of the benefits that we like to sell, is like, we'll lock you in at that price. That means it's not going to go up during the terms, right? During the next 3 months, 4 months, even if you choose to extend. Does that work with you, Jay? Right? Like, that's the conversation I'm having. I'm just letting them know that our prices are dynamic. You might have seen this on Zillow Rent a Manager. It's a little lower. That was during our low season. But during this time, with these pets, with this amount of folks, it's going to be that price. And then usually there's no pushback. They just,
Right. Yeah.
all right, it is what it is. Thanks for letting me know. As long as you have an explanation in this business, you're good. If you start being like, oh, I'm not sure, then, but if you say, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, Jay. I'm so glad that you brought that up.
And do you
Right?
feel like the insurance reps, they will most likely come back to you because you have access to a lot more properties than if someone that has like 1 or 2 units?
No. I wouldn't sell
No?
yourself short. They're looking at how can I solve. They don't even care to have multiple properties. They're like, for this specific family, I'm trying to solve this problem. Is this available for this property? They don't care that I could have 100 properties and I don't. They wouldn't even care because, trust me, I've tried. I've gotten a little thirsty. I'm like, and by the way, we also have. I'm like, let's just focus on this, because remember, they're trying to just take care of this pile. Right? They're not worried about 2, 3 other clients. They're trying to deal with one at a time. So I am not at an advantage. The person that has the advantage, the person that has the best product and the property at the time to solve that single problem for that property and that specific family. Then we can have a conversation later about, hey, now that I helped you out with this property, what does it look like? Do you have any other, families? And that's how I like to start conversation. But just keep in mind that you're a problem solver. You can always say, even if you're 100% occupied, which we are most of the time, which is a good problem to have, you can say, hey, listen, Jay, Vonnie, I want to be I want to be a resource for you, which means that we know the Philly area very well. We're very connected with a lot of property managers as well. That I want definitely you to reach out to me when you're in a bind and you can't find something, because I can assure you that we'll be able to find something for you, and I could even make an introduction. Would that work for you, Jay? Would that work for you, Bonnie? Like, those conversations are key, and that's how even the gentleman Mike Stone in my in one of my buddies, I don't know if you listen to my podcast, he was able to land a $45,000 a month contract by just being resourceful.
Is that the same guy that Jesse interviewed? The guy who was a realtor? Is it the same guy, or is it somebody different?
Check him out, Mike Stone. Probably
What's
two,
the
three
name of
episodes
your
ago.
podcast?
Oh, come on. You can't be on here and not know the name of my podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's the
The
Real Estate Experiment. The Real
real
Estate
estate
Experiment. Check it
experiment.
out.
Okay.
Mike Stone is a good buddy of mine. A great guy in the space too. I think he has his own program too. It's a wonderful space that we're in, but he was able to call 12 to 13 property owners, and unbelievable, right? And got himself a $45,000 a month contract by being resourceful. So I think at the end of the day, it's about being a resource. And I'm pulling up here that way I can drop you the link
Okay.
before we drop off. But yeah, man, be resourceful. Even if you're full, don't let that stunt your growth. Remember, you're trying to solve problems in this space, right? And
Right.
that's what we're doing at the end of the day.
Right.
Cool.
Cool. I'll DM you my podcast as well. Hopefully, I can have you as a guest on our podcast.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. And you guys are in Philly, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm just a direct message away. I appreciate you guys. You obviously tapping in, and definitely I'll send you my or do this. Go on experimentrealestate.com. Get my blueprint, because on emails I do send a lot of really good information. I don't spam people, but then you'll have the latest. Sometimes I'll do like free webinars. Sometimes I'll do a bunch of different stuff. In the community and like podcasts and stuff. You'll know about it. But yeah, send me a DM, and I trust that you guys in 2024 are going to continue to crush it. I want to see the receipt stuff. If you guys get an inquiry, don't hesitate. Like a big insurance inquiry or whatever, reach out, because I love to help in those situations. And I always, you can always reach out. No worries.
Okay, so when I get an inquiry, you're willing to step in there, talk to them?
Yeah, but I could step in. Well, obviously, I do have consult sessions now. If you want
Okay,
dedicated
I got
time,
you.
so I say I do
Yep.
have that. But if you ever like shoot me an audio on Instagram or something like that, man, it's all about helping our good people, man.
Cool. All right. Well, we highly appreciate you jumping on with us. Thank you.
Awesome. You guys are rock stars. Keep it up, and happy New Year to you guys, and sending a lot of abundance and bookings your way. All right.
All
Good
right.
health,
You
of
as
course.
well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.